People who were asked, "Sell me this pen" during a job interview. How did you answer? Not me, but a former sales manager was a douchebag who prided himself on being the greatest and the only one who knew everything about sales and tech. He didn't. Hence the word former. He was trying to find a new salesperson but rejected nearly every resume I put in front of him for nitpicky bulls until one day he announced that he'd found the perfect candidate and was bringing him in for a formal interview, but he was pretty sure he was going to hire him on the spot. He kept going on and on about how this guy was perfect and why couldn't we find him someone like this and blah blah blah. Whatever. Fine. Just get it done. He brought the guy in, sat him down and said, "Sell me this pen." The guy picked up the pen, handed it back and said, "I don't play pen games." Then he walked out and we never heard or saw him again. Awesome burn. He had that guy figured out right away. Would you really hire somebody who charges you 50 quid for a pen that was already yours to begin with? 50 quid? Alright, 30 for you. Deal? That's how a guy got me to buy a camp trailer. He started the price out 3 grand over what I was wanting to pay, then before I knew it he was knocking the price down without me saying anything. I felt like the best negotiator for getting the price I wanted and was driving it home before I realized I paid exactly what he asked for it. I did this once. I didn't take it seriously at all, since it was for selling advertising on the 8th ranked country station in a small liberal town. Instead of selling the guy a pen, I got him interested in buying a pontoon boat, as he mentioned having a base boat earlier in the interview. He was like, "Sell me this pen," and I said, "Why? Are you in the market for a pen right now? Is that a problem you're having a hard time solving yourself?" And then we started talking about free time and hobbies. It totally worked, and I don't know how, and I also didn't care because that job sucked. I asked, "May I see it?" I then put it in my pocket. He asked for the pen back and I tried to charge him £10 for it. I didn't get the job or get to keep the pen. During our interview for an electronic sales job, the interviewer asked me to take home a fairly expensive floor model of Blu-ray player and come back the next day with a sales pitch. It was very strange to put trust in me as he had just met me in the interview 5 minutes ago. I came back the next day with a bunch of product knowledge and landed the job. Worked there for several years and oftentimes the boss would send us home with cool new electronics to try out, sometimes even keep. It was a rewarding place to work and also a great way to get product experienced sales staff. Ran out of business by Best Buy unfortunately. Probably a bit of a test with that interview, and for the cost of that floor model, which was probably coming down soon, they could see if you were trustworthy enough to be left with merchandise. I'm sure not everyone came back the next day and just kept the borrowed player. Stood up and fricked off out of there. It was a job for truck driving. What a C. Right. I've been asked this question in warehouse and administrative work. If a job ad gives the faintest hint of sales being involved, I have absolutely no interest in it. Yet this question still gets used. Easy. Tell the interviewer you cannot because your sale method is not selling a customer something they do not need, but match the right customer to the right product at the right time. They are so impressed they want to write that note on the back of your resume. Suddenly they do need a pen. I heard it being asked at a group interview by the new lady from HR. I shot her a WTF look. She asked a different question instead. Group interviews can get fricked anyway. I was told that I was the owner of a pencil store, and my interviewer said that he only needed a pen. When I started to pretend offering him a selection of pens, I was stopped. No, your only inventory is pencils, specifically the real life number 2 pencil on the table between us. So I changed tactics. If you are in that dire need of a pen, then I'm assuming that something must have gone wrong with your day. If everything was according to plan for you, you'd have a pen in your pocket and would have passed my shop by and gotten on with your life. But something went wrong, which happens. If I sold you a pen, then it could break. It could ruin that nice suit, and a 3-cent piece of plastic could cost you hundreds of dollars in the process. All because something simple went wrong. If something goes wrong with one of my pencils, the worst outcome that could come from a pencil, here I hold out the pencil and snap it half. You just end up with 2 pencils. I hate sales, but I am still completely dorkily proud of that particular bulls. I can't help but imagine how awkward it must be if you didn't have enough strength to break the pencil, lol. I sold a guy a truck. About a week later he interviewed me for a job. Didn't know it would be the same guy. He asked me the pen question, paused and said we did that last week and moved on. I would tell them that I had already created a website to purchase pens called Pen Island and would encourage them to visit penisland.com. You some bitch, I actually fell for that. I once had a job of a crappy office supply company, you know the one, where it was our literal job to sell pens to people and try to upsell them on stupid crap they didn't need or want. It was all randomized and scripted though as to what it would try to upsell them on. I see you've bought a bulk package of 100 big pens today, for like $8.99. Would you like to purchase 4 micropoint, gel ink, 4 color pack of pens for $11.99? It was absolutely ridiculous. I almost always refused to do it because it was stupid and the customers generally appreciated the fact I wasn't reading them some pre-scripted bulls on some garbage they didn't need. My stats were fantastic, but because I didn't do the upsell bulls, I was eventually fired. And not because of that, they decided one day I had a customer on hold too long, for 6 minutes, while trying to find them an answer to their question that required me to get up from my desk, cube, track down my supervisor who then had to track down the manager. Frick that place. To be honest, your time and your supervisor's time and your manager's time, cost of a pack of pens, you would have to get that customer to buy bajillions packs for your choice of how to use their times and yours. Be worth it. Not quite the same, but I was filling out an application for a job once when the owner came back where I was and said if you can name the song on the radio right now, you can have the job. I was able to name it and started at 5 that night. What song? I was once at a job fair where this wasn't even attached to an interview. It was more like an open mic night kind of thing. I skipped it. As an engineer, I've never had this question asked of me. That's because engineers aren't good with people, so you have a people person like Tom Smokowski to sell the pen. I asked them why. You already bought it. They told me I had to prove my salesmanship skills. So I said why? You already paid for it. Clearly the product speaks for itself, just like our product does. I got the job, but it turns out I was actually interviewing to be a janitor and they got me confused with someone else. Obviously you were overqualified. I held it up like a dagger and told him I was going to stab him through the eye with it if he didn't buy it in the next 10 seconds. I did not get the job, but I got $417 and a nice watch for the pen. At least you weren't broke for that day. I was asked a variation of this question during an interview at Radio Shack. It wasn't sell me this pen, though, it was sell me a cell phone plan. My entire response was more or less on the fly bulls, so I don't remember what my exact words were. Basically, though, here's what I said. Number, I'm not going to try to upsell you, but I am going to tell you the truth. A growing number of your friends, your family, and your co-workers have cell phones, and they're adapting to a world wherein everyone is reachable at all times. Moreover, they are increasingly communicating by way of text messages, and if you can't send and receive those, you're going to end up missing out. Loved ones might worry when they can't get a hold of you, employers might pass you over for promotions, and you might be the last to know when something big is happening. Now, I don't know you. I don't know what your needs are. It would be dishonest of me to say that you have to sign up for a cell phone plan today, so I'm not going to try to sell you one. At the same time, though, I'd like to help you with those needs. And if you think that you'd like to keep in touch with the people in your life, then I'd be happy to help you. The eyes of the guy interviewing me kind of glazed over while I was going through all of that. Afterward, he half-heartedly said, yeah, okay, so, it sounds like you're a good salesman. How do you feel about working weekends? I was initially excited to accept the job, but after I thought back over my above described spiel, I realized that I wouldn't feel good about hoodwinking people into purchases. After all, upselling from behind a veil is still upselling, and it wasn't something that I wanted to do. TLDR. I sold him the pen by pretending that I was refusing to. Overkill. Seems like this question is almost exclusively asked to overqualified people applying for the job. I made it emotional through some internet research. Corporate people put everything on LinkedIn. I learned that his high school age daughter was really into horses. I asked him to picture himself writing a check with this pen for a perfect saddle for his daughter while she looked on in admiration and think of all the hard work and sacrifice they had both made to make that happen. And told him that now whenever he looked at that pen he would remember that feeling. Was told later that the only part of that whole conversation that mattered was I did my research beforehand and was able to use it on the fly. Turns out his daughter is a spoiled brat and he could care less about another saddle. I'm pretty sure your research is considered stalking, but if you got the job, then that's what matters. Boast that you can sell it to a deaf man. When they ask how, just bellow, do you want to buy a pen at the top of your voice? Screaming at a deaf man. Yup, so the candidate is the dumbest one yet. Tell them the pen sucks because it's probably some big piece of crap, and offer to sell my Uniball Jetstream, which is the best lower price pen on the market. See, you get the job because you're a person of distinction. Going with the Uniball. Literally quit the interview. The first reason being that I did apply for a position which should not have a lot to do with sales and they kept pushing this how would you sell people stuff since the beginning of the interview. So not what I was looking for. Second reason, I assume you are not qualified to hold interviews. If you only copy paste standard stuff that is outdated already and pretty much a meme. I also assume it won't be different working for a company like this. Just random stuff they found on Employee Management for Dummies and only adopted because it's written in a book. Not a thought if it fits for their employees or company, but prof. Doctor. Very important businessman said it, so it must be the only way to manage a company. No, but I was asked what were your grades like in high school. Pulled a Turk and said my friend wasn't the only one with 64 Ds in high school. I'm not gonna sell you this pen. I'm going to give it to you and sell you the paper. Don't sell an object. Sell a subscription. EA, you're hired. Not me, but I met my husband in line at the bank. He was behind me and said, "Mom, do you have a pen I might borrow for a minute?" I turned to tell him there are pens at the kiosks. I had to look up to make eye contact. He smiled. Then I just handed him my pen. He still has it. That's dang cute. It was so awkward. Interviewed for position in call center and I was like, well, you should buy this pen, cause it's blue and that is very nice color. Also you can see from shape that you can write very fast with it. Then I realized how stupid those sentences sound and my mind went blank. Interviewer waited like at least half a minute. If I somehow continued talking, which was never-ending nerve-wracking moment, then he cut it. I got the job and then was fired week after because I just couldn't sell people crap they didn't need or want. How this hits home. The answer doesn't even matter sometimes. They just wanna see if you're willing to make a fool of yourself in order to push their crap on people to sell it. Let's put aside buying the pen. I will work for you for the first 6 months for free. Just sign here. Smooth. They gave you their only pen. They want it now. Proceed to deep throat the pen before cleaning your ear with it. Offer to clean the interviewer's ear. Act annoyed when she refuses. Sulk a little. Accept the job will not be yours. Hahaha, what an emotional roller coaster. I used to work the tech side of sales. My job was to demonstrate the software, consult, help with sizing and installation, stuff like that. I never got the question in a real interview, but in one of our training sessions, leader, sell me this pen. Me, okay, this is a nice pen and it is pretty good for the job. Let's use it to design a system. Make some drawings and purposely spell something wrong everywhere. Looks good, let's build it. Oh crap, we need to fix the spelling of this word. It is everywhere. If you use this pen, you have to start over. But if you had used our product you would fix it once and move on. I know you wanted me to sell you a pen, but I'm here for the long haul. I'm not going to give you something you don't need, even if it will get me a big commission check. That isn't how I do business. My teammates laughed. My boss laughed. My client exec took me out for drinks. The trainer was P. If someone asked me that in a job interview I'd get up and walk out on the motherfucking spot. If you watched that movie and came away with the conclusions that Jordan Belfort is an awesome salesman then I definitely do not want you as a boss. A very attractive candidate actually once seductively tried to do the whole sexy pen sale thing. She was promptly told to leave the interview as it was not appropriate. Kudos to the hiring HR rep actually. I thought the interviewer was joking because I was a teenager applying for position at a fast food restaurant. So I, jokingly, hammed it up like a cheesy commercial. But the interviewer never laughed or smiled, and that's when I realized they were serious. Long story short, it was one of the most awkward interviews I've done, but I got the job anyway. I asked if they had another pen. They said no. I pointed out the papers in front of them that they'd be diligently writing and signing on, and that without a pen their job just became impossible. I then offered to sell them my pen instead. It had more ink and a rubber grip. It was customer service and sales for a telecom, and my bonus checks from sales were chunky. Oh, I just looked at it, tried writing with it, clicked it a few times, bounced it on the button and then tossed it at the trash bin. You don't want that pen. Pulled out my own "you want this pen" and I laid it on the table. When they reached for it I snatched it away and did all the things again, but showed that it didn't make any grinding noises. Wrote fluently with no force at all. Bounced beautifully on its much shorter button when retracted. Then I let them write with it. I'm a hardware technologist at my base. I know machines and manufacture practices. He asked where to get the pen. I have been in sales for about 30 years. Never been asked that question, but if they did, I would get up and walk out. I don't like gimmicks. Anyone asking that kind of question during a job interview doesn't sound like a job I would want. It's amateurish. I ripped off Wolf of Wall Street and told them to write their name. They said, "I don't have a pen." I said, "Sold. Supply and demand." Then walked out. Because you got me fricked up if you think I'm doing commission only with a sales pitch of a pen being the only requirements to get the job. I was the receptionist at a startup that was just about to go IPO. It did. It was very successful, so they were hiring a lot of new people. Now remember, the receptionist is the secret spy in the interview process. You can tell a lot about a person by how they act in the waiting room and how they speak to the receptionist. The management of this company totally understood that. They always asked for my input on any hire that passed their interview, and listened to it. One thing I would do when there was a promising candidate would be have the applicant peek around the freestanding 8-foot tall wall next to my desk. There was a large pyramid of empty beverage cans on a table there. Company kept a stock fridge, of course. I handed them a Nerf ball. I told them to chuck it over the wall, and if they knocked over some cans, I would put in a good word. Now you have to understand, this was back in the heyday about the dot-com boom. Probably wouldn't work today. It was important to company morale to have a sense of whimsy, and it was appropriate to the product being created and sold. It told me this person was willing to put themselves out of their comfort zone, take a risk, try something new, and would be someone that would fit in company culture. The one applicant who first asked, "Okay, but who builds the pyramid, and shall I build back what I knocked down?" was someone I highly recommended. He was management in no time and was fantastic. So mom, I've never thought that small. How can me or you make money if my ambition was limited to a one-time sale of a $2 pen? My sales model is to establish a relationship, understand your needs, and sell your goddamn building. I was asked this question during a group interview for a front desk job at my university's rec center. I asked them if there was any type of sales work in the job description, and they said no. So I just got up and walked away. Not gonna deal with that BS. Reply with, "Are you looking to buy a pen?" The first step of any sale is identifying what the customer is looking for specifically and guiding them through to a purchase. You never force a purchase. You help identify what the customer is looking for, what they need, and how you can help them. I haven't been asked, but I would take the pen. Ask them if they had a pen, which they now do not. "Okay, you has anything important going on today?" Inevitably they say yes. "Wow, sure sounds like you might need to take some notes for that. I have this pen, but it's not for sale. Good luck." Walk out. Free pen. Hooray. One more pen added to the collection. Once you accumulate enough pens, start your pen selling business and build your empire on the tears and bones of sales hiring people. This is a sales position question and a good indicator you are going to do a lot of freaking selling in the job. If that was not clear to you, and you do not like sales, it's time to bow out and not waste any of your time further in that interview. My answer when I hear that question is, I am an engineer, not sales. I design to fill a need, not fluff something up and convince someone to buy something they already have. Call me if you want a product created, a solution to a technical problem found, or a design verified. Not a pen, but I was in a group interview for my first job in high school. The interviewer looks at me and gestures to a large fake potted plant decoration next to where we were sitting and said, "Sell this to me." I was caught off guard and froze, so we all sat there in silence for a few seconds until I finally just blurted out the first thing that came to mind. "Wanna buy a plant? I've been with the company going on 5 years now. Hey, I just placed orders for 2,000 of these pens with Elon Musk. They're unique, and Elon wanted to ensure that he had exclusivity. He gave me this pen as a gift and a thank you. I don't really want to sell it, but you seem like a decent chap, so I'll let you have it. They cost Elon $25,000 each, but I really need a $20. So here's a penny, and if you have a $20 bill it's yours for $19.99. I got the job." I would just pocket the pen, then ask for the next question. Before you know it, I'll just grab all the pens. "Oh, now you need a pen? Frick you, I'm leaving with your pen's butthole." "Oh, one of those. I haven't seen anyone use one of those in years. Now this, pull out own pen. This is the pen that executives put front and center on their desks to impress clients walking in. So you could get your pen for $100 in the discount section of Ross. Or for $250 you can have people know you don't shop third hand and buy this one." I was honest about the pen. It was a cheap ballpoint pen with the department's name and contact information on it, and they had a box of hundreds of them. And so that's what I told them. "In your line of work, this is the pen you need. It's bright red and easy to find. It's individually incredibly cheap so that losing it won't ruin your day, but it's reliable, and comes with built-in advertising. It's not the best pen in the world, but it is the best option at your price point and needs. Best job I had in college." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.